You guys, sleep, number one thing that I would say you gotta prioritize if you wanna get jacked, right? I think sometimes we get in this mentality of like, yo, sleep is for the weak.
Some of you going to sleep and you don't deserve to be. You don't deserve rest.
I don't need to sleep, bro, just more reps, more sets, just eat a lot of food. But sleep is where the growth happens, right? That's where you actually get juicy. So, a couple things I like doing personally is to make sure I get my sleep in. Obviously, prioritize it. But number one thing is gonna be consistency. Like, have a consistent time you sleep at and you wake up at. Obviously, we all have different lifestyles, so some may not be able to do that. But do consistently what you can do. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So, consistency is gonna be at the top of the game if you want your sleep to be regulated. Because understand, our bodies are mad smart, man. Like they adapt to whatever we give it. Whether that's stimulus in the gym, the food we eat, the environment we live in, the body will adapt to it. So when you give your body consistent sleep at a certain time and you wake up at a certain time, the body is gonna start adapting to it and body's gonna start getting regulated around that sleep cycle, right? That's when you'll see the most amount of gain. So number one thing is just have that consistency. So a couple things you can do to improve that consistency is gonna be number one, have a bedtime routine. So let's get into the bedtime routine. So guys, number one thing is gonna be having some sort of bedtime routine, right? Because this bedtime routine is gonna give you that consistency. And almost like think about this as like a trigger in your brain. Okay, like the bedtime routine is starting, that means it's sleepy time, right? So a couple things I like doing personally is 40 minutes before I sleep, phone away, okay? If you can put that downstairs, if you have the ability to do that, put that downstairs. Put it in your car if you need to. Get rid of the phone thing. Get a new alarm from Amazon. It's like 10 bucks, okay? Don't cry. Second thing is, I personally just like to, do some skincare routine, but this is my half-ass way of doing it, so oh yeah. So now my brain is getting triggered into sleeping because I have some sort of routine going on here, right? And the third thing is, I like reading a book. So this is called The Mountain Is You. It's pretty, it's pretty deep, but this gets me in my feels a little bit. Cups of rose. But I'm not thinking about everything else that's going in the life, like business stuff, relationship stuff, work stuff, whatever it is. I'm just present in the moment. The cream's still on my face? No, it's not. Okay, I'm just present in the moment, reading the book, right? And now I'm much more relaxed. I'm not caring about all the hustle bustle that's going out. Close my eyes, and I go sleep. So these three things I like personally doing: phone out of the way, some sort of skincare routine, and then reading a book. And this triggers my brain, it's like bedtime. So I go sleep nicely. So that's number one thing, okay? The second thing is gonna be environment. So this is a bit more of like a low-hanging fruit, but just make sure like, it's quiet. Like don't have like random sounds or like music on or like, your dad, mom doing some dancing outside, whatever it's going on in the house. Try to make sure it's a quiet environment, right? And the second thing is gonna be cool environment personally if you can. Maybe have your AC on or whatever. I like turning like 3 fans on, okay? I just like fans on because I like sleeping in a colder environment. And studies even show that sleeping in a cool environment will help you with sleep, right? And then another thing in your environment you can do is make sure the room is dark. Sounds obvious, but sometimes we leave the curtains open and then like, there's a bunch of light coming in, especially if you're living in like the city area, for example, you might get too much light in, right? So if you have a good environment, everything is quiet, it's dark, it's cool, that should help improve your sleep, okay? So it's an easy thing we can all do. Yeah, guys, so third thing is you want to have a good morning routine, right? So you want to start your day off in control. Like you have to know that like, okay, the first 30, 40 minutes is going to be your time. That you're going to set a good mindset. If you got to reflect, journal, whatever you got to do that, okay? Personally, the things I like doing number one is meditate, okay? So open up the Fitbit app. There's a bunch of mindfulness sessions there. So you can just do one for 5 to 10 minutes. And what this gets me in the zone for is my breath is calm. I'm not thinking about random stuff. I'm more present. Okay, so it helps me focus. Second thing I like doing personally is reading, right? Current book, Burn the Boats, pretty fire, right? So reading, 5, 10 pages. What this again is doing, just getting my mind positive thoughts, but also just keeping me present. I'm not thinking about what I'm gonna do in like 2, 3 hours. I'm more present. I'm in control of my morning, right? Third thing, no caffeine for the first 30, 40 minutes if you can. First 60 to 90 minutes ideally. What this is gonna basically do is make sure the inside natural energy that kicks in, right? And you don't just crash in like a couple hours. Okay, so some sort of meditation, some sort of just breath work, reading a little bit, and then no caffeine. So you're in a calm state, just hype right away. Okay, so these are things that helps me start my morning off in control. And that has a domino effect on the rest of the day where I feel much more in control, much more calmer, even if stressors hit me, right? And this is gonna help your sleep at night. Guys, so the last thing that's gonna help you sleep better is have some sort of structure during the day, right? So number one thing is have some sort of physical activity. If your body is not physically tired, even mentally you're just exhausted, it's gonna be a little tough to sleep at night, right? So, if you gotta go walk in the morning, or if your activity level is already high, having a workout in, but that physical activity is gonna actually lead to better sleep at night. The second thing is gonna be meal timings, right? Like, don't be just eating like 10, 20, 30 minutes before sleep. Because the way I like thinking about it, it's like your brain's like, yo, bro, should I sleep or should I be digesting food? Right? Just common sense. If you're eating food right before, your brain is going to be confused what to do, right? And the third thing is going to be just shut off, like, hour before, 2 hours before your bedtime. Sit with the family, read a book like we talked about before, but just shut off, don't think about business stuff. The more that you're thinking about all the other stuff that's going on in the day, your brain's gonna be confused again. It's like, yo, should I be sleeping? And a bonus one, try not having too much light exposure. So like too much blue light, like if you're staring at a screen all the time, or like lights in your room and stuff, they're constantly on. Your brain is also gonna think like yo, so much light means like wakey time, not really sleepy time. You know what I'm saying? So turn the lights on. There's something called red light you can also use that helps your brain trigger like, okay, it's a little more darker. That means sleep time, right? So those things during the day are gonna help you sleep better at night. So summary wise, be consistent. Like anything, you gotta be consistently trusting that the routine is gonna work. Let your body adapt to it so your sleep gets regulated again. The second thing is gonna be have some sort of bedtime routine, right? Just make sure you're reading something or reflecting a little bit. If you gotta put cream on your face, some sort of skincare routine, do what you gotta do, but 30, 40 minutes before sleep, have some sort of routine, okay? Third thing, a low-hanging fruit environment. Just make sure it's dark, it's cool, it's quiet. That's gonna help you sleep much better. And obviously have a comfortable bed, pillows, things like that. And the fourth thing is have some sort of morning routine. The way you start your day in the morning, if you're in control, is gonna carry over to the rest of the day. So start in control the first 30, 40, 50 minutes, whatever you can kind of afford to have. Give it to yourself. Wake up a little earlier if you need to, because that morning is gonna dictate your whole day, right? Whether it's reading a book, having your coffee, whatever you gotta do. Last thing is gonna be actually tired and don't eat right before bed and shut off all the lights and stuff as much as you can before sleep. So hope those tips help. And I know it sounds like more in general sense, but those tips, if you constantly implement them, they will give you better sleep. And the sleep is what's actually gonna get you pretty juicy. Okay? So please, hopefully you didn't fall asleep watching this video. But hope those tips helped. Any questions, concerns, let me know. And yeah, please get your sleep in. Take it easy.